I just started massage therapy school, and I was really excited. While in school, I met this girl, Francine, and we started dating. Little did I know that in time, she would break my heart and put me in jail.
Today's story is about a couple by the name of Sal and Francine. They meet in massage therapy school. Things are looking great. He falls in love, she falls in love, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she breaks his heart. But not only does she break his heart, but she also puts him in jail. Why does she do this? We'll find out now, but before we go there, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. And now on with the story.
When I started massage therapy school, I was very excited because in a year's time, I will have a career. And I met some pretty cool people. One woman in particular, her name is Francine. I said to her, "My name's Sal." And we hit it off, and we started dating. After a few months, we decided to move in together. Things were going great. And then we graduated. Francine immediately landed a job. But for me, I struggled. It seemed nobody wanted to hire a male massage therapist, and this was frustrating. Francine, though, was very supportive, but my frustration of not having work and always complaining about it was taking a toll on Francine. After a few months, Francine said the lease is coming to an end, and I am moving in with my friend Elaine. I said, "What about us?" Francine told me that she can't keep supporting us, and living with her friend will help her put away money. She then said, "I'm not breaking up with you. I just have to do what's best for me."
So due to financial stress, Sal and Francine don't break up, and she tries to be supportive, but his own insecurities, his own feelings of not being able to get a job and not being on his purpose plays a big part and starts hurting the relationship. But Francine still loves Sal, so she says, let's just, separate as far as living together, see if you can basically get on your feet, and maybe we can still continue to grow together. Not uncommon, particularly in relationships, but especially in just starting out relationships.
I did manage to find a job in a doctor's office. I also found a room just a couple miles away from where Francine would be living. The room would fit my budget, and the people who owned the home there, their name was John and Margarita. They were very cool. I said, "I have a girlfriend. Would it be okay if she can come and visit?" They were totally great with that as well. John and Margarita would get to know me and Francine. Things were going great. I had a great job. Francine loved her job, and she made a great friend at the spa that she worked with. Her name was Colleen. Colleen invited Francine over to her home one day, and later that evening I met Francine for dinner. She told me about the time she spent with Colleen, and she said I also met her brother, Mark. Mark's a police officer, and though she had no interest, she can tell he was interested in her. This really upset me. I was really upset. Here's this authority figure, and she's telling me about him. We started arguing about it. She said, "I didn't think you would be this upset. You asked me about my day, and that's what I was doing, telling you what my day was about. I have no interest at all, and your jealousy and insecurity is a you thing." And so we went back to our homes for the evening. The next day, I apologized, and she forgave me. She also told me that she was trying to start a small house call massage business on the side, and so she gave me some of her business cards to give out. Later that day, I ran into Margarita. Margarita told me she would be gone for 2 months. She goes to visit her family in Colombia, and if I needed anything, John would be here. And so a month would go by, and I came in from work, and I went into the kitchen, and I noticed on the counter table near the kitchen was one of Francine's massage business cards. Now I know that I didn't put that card there. And immediately I went into my room and I could see that the cards were shuffled. And I didn't notice this before. And then all of a sudden I heard John come in. And just as I was going to confront him, he said, "I have to talk to you about the living arrangement. Margarita is coming back a bit earlier, and unfortunately, you will have to move out and you have 2 weeks to do so." This totally sidetracked me from confronting John, and Francine's business card. I couldn't even think about it because I was too concerned and worried about where am I going to live. But I was also ready because I was able to save up and I have a great job now that I was able to get my own place. So later that evening, I met Francine, and I told her during dinner what happened. I asked her, "Is John contacting you because he had one of your cards?" And she said, "Yes, several weeks back he called me." And I said, "I would give him a massage." "What do you mean you would give him a massage? He called you?" "Yes, I figured you were helping me promote my business. And so he called me, so I didn't even think about it." I didn't give him the card. He stole it out of my room, and he asked me today to move out. Is this all just a coincidence? She said, "Your insecurities are showing again. He's a married man who wanted a massage, and I assumed that you had given him the card because you were helping me promote my business. How am I supposed to know what happened in your household?" Then she said, "I know the timing is bad, and this latest incident and you getting kicked out of your room doesn't help. But I've been thinking of things, and I want to break up. We are going in different directions, and honestly, I cannot take your insecurities any longer." And even though I begged and I pleaded, she said, "It's over. We haven't had an intimate relationship for a very long time on top of it, and I've drifted apart from us. I am sorry. Take care. It's over." And just like that, it was.
And just like that, the relationship was over. So here's my question to you listening out there. If Sal had a better way of presenting himself instead of going into panic mode, which is totally normal. People do that. There's ways, though, to speak to someone, but here he is, his card's there. She did admit, "I've been doing massage," so he's freaking out. If his presentation was softer, could that have made a dent in the feedback he was getting from Francine? Or do you believe she already made up her mind at this point? Everything was stockpiling up, that I just can't take this guy anymore. He's just too insecure. There's always something in reference to his life or the craziness that's happening around it. I just don't want this craziness in my life. What do you think?
A few months have gone by. I've been in my new apartment now for a bit, and I was pretty much over the heartbreak, surprisingly, when all of a sudden my cell phone rings. I see that it's Francine calling. I picked up, and she asked if she should, or if she could, come by and talk to me. When she arrived, she said, "I know things ended bad, but I want to tell you that I still love you, and that I should tell you the truth about what went down between John and I." She said he called me, and we had a few massages, and I was really overwhelmed and upset with us. And one thing led to the other, and we had an affair. And I broke it off. I didn't want him anyway. But unfortunately, I found out that John got me pregnant. And now I didn't know what to do. And when I brought it to his attention to get his help, he said, "I can't have my wife find out about this." I really seen what kind of a person he is. I then told her, "I'm so sorry the way things went between us, but I can't help you with this. I can be here for you for moral support, and I do care for you, but I cannot help with this. This is not between us. This is between you and him. She left. She was sad. She left crying. A couple of months go by. I figured, okay, she's moved on. I did the right thing. It's not my place to get involved. And I get a call from a lawyer. And I pick up, and they said, "Is this Sal?" I said, "Yes, it is." They asked me if I would be coming by this week to sign the papers. Apparently, Francine told them I would be signing a document that gives up all the rights to the baby. As the father stood on the cell phone in shock. I said, newsflash, I am not the father, and the father is a man by the name of John. And they were surprised. So we said our goodbyes, and I just hung up. An hour later, Francine calls me. She's screaming, "Why can't you do this for me? Just say that you are the father and sign the document." And I said, "Because I am not the father and I am not getting involved in this. Sorry." And she kept screaming and yelling. And then she hung up. And I was hoping this was the end of this. But the next day, I get a knock at the door. And it is Francine. And there's 2 policemen outside with her. I open the door, and they arrest me on the spot. And I said, "What's the charge?" And he said, "Assault and battery and attempted murder on a pregnant woman." They said, "Attempted murder on a pregnant woman? I didn't do any of the above. And who did I try to kill?" They said, "There's an unborn baby in her, and that puts that baby at risk. Hence, attempted murder." I said, "I did no such thing, but I was locked up in jail." So now Sal is wrongfully accused. Here's the person who he fell in love with by meeting in school. Yes, they had, like any young couple, their ups and downs. But all of a sudden, she is this desperate. She gets pregnant by another man. She gets Mark the policeman. That's what you're going to find out shortly, to help her because he had a thing for her before. So what makes a person do this to you when they say, "I love you"? She even recently said, "I'm pregnant, but I do love you." Was that real, or was that desperation? What do you think? I had one phone call, and I contacted my family. They bailed me out, and they got me a lawyer. I thought back to the day while I was in the lawyer's room when Francine told me about the police officer, Mark, who showed interest in her. And I found out that he was one of the arresting officers that day, and I told my lawyer. My lawyer said he would look into it. And when he did, he found out that Mark the policeman was investigated once before by internal affairs, and he was demoted for a similar situation. Why he was still on the force, I'll never know. And when my lawyer made contact with the police department, all of a sudden, Francine dropped the charges. I was a free man, but I was emotionally damaged. A few years had gone by, and I was curious if I would find Francine on Facebook just to see if I could say hello, not because I wanted anything with her, but it was as if I needed closure, to let her know that I forgave her, because it was still controlling me, harboring over me. And I wanted to let her know, because she is and was a big part of my life, that I just wish her well and I do forgive her. So I started researching, and I found out that prior to massage school, she had a substance abuse problem, but she got clean right before she entered school. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks what I found out next. Francine, shortly after the whole jail and pregnancy thing, Francine overdosed and died. I was very sad. Even today, I'm still affected by it. Still controlled in a sense. Can't really get the closure because I just wanted to let her know that I forgave her. I wish I was able to tell her I forgave her, but maybe through prayer I can.
So unfortunately, in the end, Francine overdosed and she died. Sal tried to pick up the pieces by forgiving her, which is the right thing to do, so you don't carry something on your back and you don't have that controlling you. But unfortunately, he found that news out and it made him even more distraught. But what he said at the end, which finally gave him closure, I had the opportunity to work with Sal. The power of prayer really helped by going to someone. And even if you're not a faith believer, pray within yourself or write down on a piece of paper how you feel, and then maybe put it in little pieces and let it float in the air. Let it go. Don't let those things control you. There was a part of him that he had his ups and downs too, but in the end, he did love Francine very much, and I believe in her heart she did as well. She had a journey, as she said, we're on two different wavelengths, two different paths. And unfortunately, when her world collided, when she realized what was happening, what was done, she dropped the charges. She tried to move on. She lost her baby through adoption. She ended up giving the baby up for adoption and without getting money. See, the whole purpose of her going through that attorney, came to find out, was that this attorney that she found through Mark the policeman basically gives a person who doesn't want the child $10,000, and you sign the child's life away to the law office, who now will basically put the baby up for adoption. But they needed the father not to come back, hence the patsy, hence Sal. So Sal was the pushover. This police officer, Mark, came up with this plan. If we get him to sign, you'll get 10 grand. And then John is out of the picture. So this was the plan that eventually, that you didn't hear about, that came up. What ended up happening, though, was that she realized that she couldn't do this because there was a past in reference to Mark, that he tried this before, which actually saved Sal. So this is exactly what happened. And Francine didn't get any money. The child is with another family. And unfortunately, Mark the policeman is, even though demoted before, he's still on the force today, unfortunately. But this is the tragic story of Francine and Sal picking up the pieces and moving on with his life, which he has. He has a prominent business in the world of bodyworks and sports therapy, and he's moved on financially and emotionally, though he does say, I can't help at times, but still feel very strong feelings, not romantic feelings, just sad feelings, because he said, I can't begin to tell you how much of a big part of the reason why she stays with me. She helped me get through massage. I was great physically, learning the modalities. Academically, I struggled immensely, and she got me through, and I owe who I am because of Francine today. So this is that story. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. Until next time, have a great day or evening, wherever you may be.